air coolers. No, no, no. That's not what I want to talk about right now, because we found something else here. Check this thing out. So once in a while I get to these shows and even I'm surprised after like 15 years of covering them about what these manufacturers are coming out with. But look, this is more of a fun one because Thermaltake, they just said like, YOLO, we're just gonna go for the craziest thing they possibly can. So this is the ST360 Trio Ultra with a trio of 6-inch LCD screens on it. It's foldable, it goes portrait, it goes landscape. It will definitely intrude onto the first PCIe slot. But look, I mean, this they're just putting out here for the love of the game, right? They're saying, why not? Why not do something like this? Let's get a little bit of feedback to see how far we can go. There's so many potential problems with this, but then at the same time, you get a reaction like this. It's just like not laughing because it's funny, it's laughing because it's fun. And I think that's what we're missing a little bit right now in the PC space, right? We're just, there's fun things like this. Last year they had that Mac Cube. This year they've got this. There are limitations, but man, I mean, there's a certain cool factor going on here too. And look, if you want a more basic build without all this insane bling, heck, they don't even know what they're gonna do with this. They don't know how they're gonna push a proper signal to this through USB. Then we've got some other things for you if you want a little bit more tuned down items. But this, I'm gonna give Thermaltake like a huge round of applause. This is just cool. And this is your anti-RGB, anti-bling, anti-LCD AIO corner here. This is like I was saying before, my happy place. This is the ToughFan 12 V2. We've already tested the original ToughFan 12s, and they were actually some of the best 120mm fans that we came across, at least for the price. Now they're moving on to the V2, so they've enhanced pretty much everything. So the LCP blades are a little bit closer to the fan chassis. There's a little bit additional thickness, so we're looking at 28mm now too. But what they've done is they've tuned them in such a way that they go to just 2,000 RPM, but they are actually able to deliver the performance of the old V1 fan that was running at around 2,500 RPM. Those ones, we're talking about like in decibel normalized scenarios. Now they've taken all the technology of these fans. By the way, they are going to be very, very inexpensive compared to some of the Noctuas and other fans on the market. Price is TBD, but we know that they're pretty affordable. That is all going to be taken over into a new 360mm AIO. So like the Tough Liquid 360 V2, they're taking that name and bringing it forward too. So what they're doing is they're capitalizing on all the static pressure and airflow that these fans allow. They're putting in a thicker radiator, so a 30mm thick radiator along with a 28mm thick fan. And yes, in some cases that's going to cause compatibility issues, but they've said that this AIO, along with all the optimizations that they've made to the base plate for both AM5 and new Intel CPUs, should make this one of the top 5 360mm AIOs on the market right now. We're going to have to test that claim, but look, Thermaltake has not been very, very strong in the AIO game in the past, but maybe this is going to sort of bring them to the next level.
Then there's also the Retro AIO that spans into the entire series as well for case, keyboard, mouse, 2 types of sizes for the enclosure, but the AIO has a little screen, and this actually looks so sick, especially when combined with the colorway of the interior of this Retro 360 TG enclosure. This is a proper colorway, by the way, with no rainbow puke, where things look consistent, although they forgot to plug in their GPU, and they forgot to secure it as well. Should we take it? It looks like SteelSeries definitely had some influence over here, but this is a fake floppy drive. So aside from the visual point of view and the integration of their new LCD screens, which by the way looks awesome, I don't mind the color differences between the screen and the exterior, just because it kind of matches everything on the interior with the black as well. But the Retro, man, the Retro is back. But you know what's better than one dual chamber micro TX enclosure? Is one dual chamber with 2 micro TX systems in there. So this is the Capo X. At first when I saw it, I was like, this looks kind of stupid, but honestly it's growing on me. 2 micro TX systems in there, 360 on the side, up to 5 fans on the side, 360 at the top. You know, everyone's kind of careful not to be like all AI based in terms of just the community feedback versus AI has been so negative. So they're not saying exactly this is for AI focused, but they also kind of did. I think the idea to make this look good is that the systems have to match. So on the black machine, what they've done here is actually absolutely super pretty. It looks ridiculous on the table, just how tall the thing is. Two interesting elements. Of course, we have the I/O at the top, which I couldn't find before. We have the I/O at the very bottom, which is kind of inaccessible. It's a little bit too low, but this entire giant glass screen is tempered glass and is also curved. The biggest curved tempered glass I've ever seen. I wonder if the yields are good, but hopefully the Computex, man, let us know what you think.
So back to these air coolers, and look, at first glance, there's nothing really interesting going on here because we have the same usual dual tower, dual 120 millimeter form factor coolers and 6 heat pipes. But guess what that lines up with? Well, the UX600 series is supposed to go directly after the Peerless Assassins of this world by starting at around $30 for this version here and then going up $10 to $20 for the digital readout version and the LCD version. I do have some concerns about the LCD version because it is extremely dim. Anyways, I just wanted to mention these things very, very quickly because you might see them in some of our coverage and some of our roundups in the future. They're coming supposedly to North America, so let's cross our fingers that they do very well because we need a little bit more competition in this range. But what I really want to talk about next is power supplies. And don't skip the video right now. There's some amazing innovation happening on that side with modular power supplies. The next and final thing is something that you would expect out of like a clickbait thumbnail, right? There's no connectors on this power supply, but there is a power transfer connector right here. So this is the Dock Power DIY Zone FC that Thermaltake is developing. Now again, this is not something that's ready for market, but check this out. All of the connectors actually live on this secondary board that you attach to the power supply like this and then lock it into place with this little screw. Thermaltake, what they want to do is they want to have this as a constant. So you buy this whole unit and say 750 watts, and then you want to upgrade just the power supply portion itself sometime in the future for a lower price. So what you do is you keep all of this connected to your system, to the cables you have running out of it, and then you just upgrade the main unit with another one. Now we've seen this intent for a long time. Okay, but it never develops into like a long-term product series. It's a flash in the pan. They release these things and they never support them. We saw that years ago with the Cooler Master cases with the Make It Yours, where they offer you a bunch of things to add to your case and it becomes the price of like a new case. This, however, they're actually committed to supporting it into the future if it does get developed. The interesting thing here, though, is that it almost like pushes you to underspec your power supply because their maximum wattage right now is 1200 watts, and it looks like this connector is going to be able to safely transfer 1200 watts. So you don't want to sort of buy that 1200 watt power supply. You're going to want to buy what's best for your system, so say like 850 watts, and then in the future update it to something a little bit bigger. But again, power supplies are something that you update like what, once every 5-10 years. Who knows if this is still going to be around in that amount of time. So there's a lot of questions about it, but for me this is cool just because it's showing something innovative, right? Something that hasn't necessarily been done all that much in the power supply industry. Anyways, that's it for me and Dimitri from Thermaltake. We will see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys.